You wanted the picks? You got the picks. The hottest picks in the world.
138 MMA here for another Dana White's Contender Series Week 10 matchup. Sam Patterson, Vinicius Cenci. We've got 9-1-1 for Patterson and 6-1 on the other side for Cenci. 9-1-1, so the one additional one there is a draw, so take that into account if you must. Let's start with Cenci here. So for him, his best path to victory is his grappling. He does have all of his wins by a submission that I could see. There was one fight I could not find, and it's just listed as win. It doesn't say what he did to win. It just says that he won. So I'm not sure on that one. I could not find that fight when I looked it up to try to watch it. But all of the other fights that I did see, I did watch, and he did win all of them by submission. So there is that. His grappling obviously is his best skill. He does have a club and sub on that record as well, so he still got the submission, obviously, but it came at the expense of the other person's chin, getting dropped, and then submitted. So since he does have the grappling skills to stack up in the division with some of the better strikers, he can hold his own on the feet okay, but not to the level of his grappling. So for that, since he's obviously going to be looking for the takedown here, looking to get those submissions as he's done so far. His striking's going to be tough in this one for a couple of reasons. One, obviously the striking is more in favor of Patterson. He does have pretty good striking, and I will go into that further here in a moment. But another reason that it's going to be tough is that Patterson is 6'4". He's a giant at 155. So the guy's a skyscraper, basically. So for this matchup, at range, Cenci's going to have a lot of trouble, especially with a guy like Patterson who does work behind his jab really well. He'll stay behind the jab, throw the jab out there, tag the opponent, touch him up, and then drop the two. He does a lot of 1-1-2s, uses just, that range to poke with the jab. So he's not dropping people with one shot typically. There was one instance where one of his opponents came rushing in and got caught on the way in and did hit the ground pretty hard after that one. But in most of his fights, what you see is him landing shots at volume, at range, with the 1 and 2, basically. A lot of jabs, occasionally drops that cross. And for me, Patterson does that really, really well. The problem that he has, though, is that he will do the terror squad defense, if you know what I mean. If you're around my age, I just kind of aged myself a bit. But the terror squad defense, the lean back, Fat Joe. Okay, so anyway, back to what, 2022 now? Okay, there we go. Anyway, so aside from the just leaning back as a defense that he does, and which a lot of taller fighters do, being 6'4" at the 155-pound division, obviously he's taller. I don't think I need to really go into more detail on that, but he will do that, and he'll often get away with it just because he is so tall. But it's not a good habit to have, so that's the one striking issue I see for him. In this fight, it shouldn't be a problem. He also has a pretty good leg kick, so he'll use that really well to set back up the hands. So what I mean by that is he's landing his jabs throughout the fight. He's hitting his opponents. When they start to snuff out that jab coming, he'll hit you with a leg kick that's not a soft leg kick by any means. So he's not just throwing a little tap out there. He's putting his hip through it. He's really trying to hurt that calf. And when he does that, it makes you have to pay attention to not only the hands, but now also watch for the kicks. And sure, they're coming at the leg, and you're not really defending a calf kick with your hands. It gets you to kind of keep looking up and down, and that's not something that you want to be doing when you're trying to watch out for those long, rangy punches. So he does work the striking well. It's that death by 1,000 cuts style, you know what I mean? So it's not the one shot like we mentioned, but he does work that well. He's also got those choking arms. The guy has long, thin arms, which to me, those are called choking arms. Why do I say that? Well, fighters that have the big, meaty forearms don't usually get under the chin as easily as fighters who have long, slender forearms. And then once they do get under the chin, they got that bone there, what's that called, the radius, that gets right in there. And real easy way to start putting somebody's lights out quick. So he does have choking arms. So if it does get to the mat, he's not lost. He does have a few wins by submission with the chokes. So for me, this is one of the few fights on the card. They're not one of the few. I guess there's 3 fights on this card that I feel pretty confident in. This is one of them. With this matchup, I do think Patterson should be able to get this one done. He's a pretty good prospect. He's beat some all right competition. used his skills well in all of those wins. He's used that range well, things like that. So for me, if Cenci gets it to the ground, he does have a path to victory there. His grappling is pretty solid. Obviously, he's won at least 5 of those 6. Might have been 6, but at least 5 of those 6 by submission. So he does have the skills. He could get this one done. He could win. So I'm not counting out entirely, but I just think that it's a pretty solid bet to go the Patterson route, and that's what I'll be doing here. There are 3 fights on this card that I feel pretty comfortable in saying the winner, and then there are 2 that are a little bit closer. So by my accounts, Patterson should get the win. Let me know if you disagree in the comments. Let me know if you agree in the comments. Maybe we're on the same page, and that's always good to hear too. Doesn't always have to be a disagree. But if you do disagree, tell me why. I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to maybe get a conversation going back and forth with you about what it is you see as to why Patterson isn't going to get the win. So let me know, and check out the rest of the Dana White's Contender Series Week 10 fights that will be in the same playlist.